So we're catching up with Kane Rice, looking at how the under-23s have been getting on over the past few weeks. So I suppose first question, how has it been for you really? How that set up?
Yeah, so the last, I think it's 5 weeks now. I think it's gone fairly well. I think so. That led us out of 3 away games. We've not played here for a while, and it's nice for people to be contacting us, asking when the next home game is. But the results went well. I think some of the performances were, in our opinion, questionable. I think what it allowed us to understand is actually that the players are capable of going to other venues, holding their own, playing more in what you would call probably more a traditional non-league environment than Maidstone is, than the pitch allows. And the way we play, it wasn't cohesive to us playing in the same way. But part of learning is that. So the lads have turned their hand. They've had to come up against teams that have gone quite direct. And to be honest, the question for myself and Simon was whether our players could deal with that type of play. Because I think that is, as we've just discussed, like going from youth team football into senior football. Sometimes the ball is a lot more elongated, they're a lot more direct. So you have to deal with a different sort of defensive issue. And also that can impact on how you play. So there's positives come out of it. We still feel the group we've got is capable of a lot more. So I have said to them, when we stop expecting, they need to be concerned, because I think when you stop expecting from a group of players or individuals, it means that you've sort of allowed yourself to accept that that's the standard. And I don't think we've even come close yet. I think it's been good, but I don't think it's what we're capable of yet, to be honest.
Fairly intensive start, of course. The games were pretty much Saturday after Saturday. You've had a couple of weeks off now. Have you still obviously had the opportunity to get some training in, get some preparations for your next game?
Yeah, I mean, so we're here now to play against Beersted's first team. We was in 3 times last week. We will be in 2 times this week. We got friendlies in and around, so we've had to try and keep going. It's been really hard because obviously naturally it's FA Cup still. So a lot of the local teams are still in the FA Cup or the FA Vars, so games are condensed. So to get another game, and a game that we feel is worthwhile, it's been difficult. So momentum is hard. Like most teams and most people, that momentum dies off a little bit in those peak times. But we've had to try and keep it going the best we can. And it will show tonight how much the lads have continued to the momentum of 3 away wins that actually were well deserved, in my opinion. And we'll find out, I think, is the answer.
Obviously, you said setting it up over the summer was quite a rapid process, so we say. It was from your time that you were appointed to getting this team together. Are you starting now to see the fruits of the labour in these early days? Now you've played those first few games, are you starting to mould the players as you wanted them to do so?
Yeah, I think in hindsight, if you look back at, we had to start within, I think, 3 or 4 weeks of getting together, and we lost our first game, we drew the second one. I think looking back, there's elements of those games that I've not seen replicated since. So there's positives, because I think the lads have learnt, and they've learnt quickly, and myself and Simon and the staff have learnt quickly. It was tough going, but listen, that's just what it is. It is where we are. I think what we've got to look forward to is the progression the team are making. And it's not how you start, it's how you end. So at the end of the year, if we're sitting mid-table, we've produced no players, we've got no outcomes, the pressure's on us, not anything else. So we'll find out. And I think the answer is at the end, isn't it, really? And we just keep striving to move forward and progress and grow. And it's something that over the next 2 seasons we'll see sort of an outcome from.
In terms of that progression, obviously you're not going to get, and it's no disrespect to the players, but there's not going to be 16 necessarily knocking on the door immediately. But from what you've seen from the crop you've got here now, could there be 1, 2, 3, 4 players that perhaps in the Kent Senior Cup tie, for example, that you might be able to say to John and Hack, if you've got a chance to have a look, I would recommend A, B and C? Whatever.
I mean, so we were quite pleasantly welcomed with the first team set up the FA Cup game, and John and Hack and Ryan and Beth and the other staff welcomed us brilliantly, so we were around that environment to understand what they look for a little bit more. I think, it's very early to comment, but I think the truth is a lot of onus is put on the coaches and how the teams and the managers can develop. I mean, I'm not a massive believer in that. I'm not going to make someone a footballer. they will make themselves a footballer, and that can be various things. That can be a little bit of natural talent, fine. But in lots of instances, there's plenty of footballers that are not that great, but their dedication to it, their application, their want to learn. So it's really a question for them, not for me. Can they achieve? That's also about bumping into the right person at the right time. I might be the right person for them, I might be the wrong person for them. I think at the end of again, they're difficult things to answer because I try and stay away from the stereotypical answers that you get from football coaches. It's not about me, it's not about Simon. I'm confident that over our lifespan of doing this, we'll do well. There's an arrogance to it, but I do believe that. And whether these players do it, it'd be like it is for us. If we're going to do well, it's held by us. If they're going to do well, it'd be held by them. Too often are coaches credited for the work that players put in. And sometimes vice versa, to be honest. So we'll see.
You obviously mentioned the fact that you had got the chance to spend the day with John Hack and Ryan a few weeks ago. Do you feel you come out with a better understanding of how they work and what they're looking for?
Yeah, I think it's too easy from all angles as someone who's involved in football to sit in a stand and pass comment on players and pass comment on managers and teams. And I think the truth is you never really know what's said until you're in the environment, and we were lucky enough to be around that. Do we agree with everything they do? Will they agree with everything we do? No, because that's not football. There's lots of things we took from it that are positive. There's lots of things we would do differently, and I 100% believe they would say the same. And I think if you're a football person and you walk into a room and you agree with everything someone else does, I think there's an element of maybe you lack your own angle, your own ideas. The truth is we play a different brand of football to them. That's not wrong. That's theirs and this is ours. And that's fine. And I think you just need to know, as a coach, my opinion is you got a way to head. And myself and Simon have got a direction we agree on. The staff are on board. And we're going in that direction, and like I say, that might turn out to be wrong in 2 years' time. It might turn out to be right. In truth, I don't know.
Finally, looking at the next couple of games you've got coming up, Bromley away, and then of course followed up by Sevenoaks. What are you expecting from those two?
I think what we found from the league is it's a lot stronger. If I'm really honest, than myself and Simon coming into it, we was a bit apprehensive of the level that we were going to be playing against. The level has been a lot better, a lot better than we anticipated. And the respect needs to be given to the players. We know Bromley, we know Ammo that looks after all the stuff there. They need to be given a massive amount of credit because the work that club has done over, not just in the first team, but all the youth staff, all the setup they've got there, needs to be given massive plaudits. And Mark Hammond there, who's done a lot of work there, needs to be applauded for that. I know he works for the first team, but he does a lot of other stuff otherwise. And they need to be given credit. And the same as Sevenoaks. I think, look, their results haven't gone well, but that's not a read of how a game goes. We've all seen plenty of times the so-called bigger team, the so-called better team, go somewhere, be complacent and get absolutely spanked, and rightly so. So this again for me is about a question of the players. Myself and Simon won't underestimate the teams. We have the teams watched. We've gone and watched the teams. We understand how and what they do. We've given our opinion and our viewpoint to the players. And if they follow our instructions, we're quite confident we'll come away with the relevant results. And if they don't, then there's questions to be asked for us and for them. So I think everyone deserves the respect that they've earned. And we're in it to win it. So that's our approach, really.
That Bromley game, of course, reasonable distance, travelling distance. It's on a Friday night, so for those that perhaps have been away with the first team, even when you've had home games here at the Gallagher, nice opportunity, short journey, just to come and have a look at what you're trying to do. Yeah, again,
like it's like an open appeal. I feel like I'm on, but like we've said before, we came here because the fans. You know, this is a great club, but without them, it's nothing. So if people can come down and support these kids, it will help them. We appreciate it. And look, Friday nights, Bromley's a good place to go out. So come and watch the game and go out after, have a beer. But it's nice. We get a lot of contact from myself, from Simon, from fans. And when we were here on Saturday, myself and Simon were sort of checking ourselves a little bit. A lot of people speaking to us, a lot of people saying positive things. And we don't often get that reception in most places. So it was nice to get it. Yeah. But please come down. Please support the guys. And it is appreciated, and they definitely appreciate it. This is a lot of them, their first experience of playing in men's football. Remember, we've got 4 16-year-olds playing in our under-23s, and playing, not just there, they're playing. So this is the first time a lot of these kids have played in front of 50, 60 people. If we can start to get a couple of hundred through the door, that leaves them in a great place, and it's an important part of Maidstone United is to understand that it's a fans club. It's all great that we're here and we've all been around, but really it's about them and about what we can give back to them longer term, and ultimately that's winning football matches and giving back in various ways. So